Aloha Headsets. Frank here. Hope you don't mind the change in scenery, but as I'm sure you can tell from the title, Surprise Saturday. They don't care about these videos. Frank just played a damn game. Shut up, Shelly. This is my channel. I can do what I want. Anyway, I thought it was time that you got to know your boy Frank on a more personal level. First and foremost, people that tell me stories when they can clearly tell that I'm in the middle of something else. Also, people that tell me news stories that everybody knows that day. I mean, come on, I don't care about the Groupon deal that you got last week. Doesn't really matter. I try to listen, but they can see that I don't care, and I can tell it in their eyes, and that's the worst part, because not only did they come over and just mess up everything that I was doing, but now they're mad at me. People in lines that say, how much longer you think? Like, I have some information that you don't. People that are enthusiastic about my total, like handing them my hard-earned cash for something worth a fraction of the cost, is the highlight of my afternoon. And finally, mostly so I don't sound bitter, I hate when people give you the expiration date for a credit card as the actual month. I mean, come on, you're looking at a number. Give me the number. I don't know how many of you out there know what number month June is, but Frank sure as hell don't. And I know you know that I have to put a number in and not a month. Honestly, all I remember is dry humping the mats at nap time. It's really just a blur of shame and embarrassment leading up to the creation of whatever the hell you see before you today. Here comes the whining again. Shelly, do you want to eat? Cats. Anyway, thought I'd share a good memory with you. When I was about 8, I had a pet gerbil. I say pet, but really I had a gerbil that I looked at from time to time. I believe I had what doctors would now call ADD. This gerbil sucked. Don't feel bad for him. Since day one, anytime I would pick him up, all he would do is bite me and poop in my hand. And that was about the extent of his relationship with me. That doesn't matter. What's important is that my parents were crazy, and they sent me to a private school because they thought that was the safest place. Big mistake. Horrible children. Whenever you had a birthday, you had to invite the entire class, even the stinky kid. Lucky for me, I was a stinky kid, so I didn't really have to worry about anything, but I digress. I had to invite everyone to my birthday party, even the mean kids, but your boy Frank had a trick up his sleeve. I mean, if you know kids, you know the kids love pets. So, of course, I brought out my gerbil Sparky for everybody to see. And when the biggest, meanest kid that always bullied your boy Frank came along, I made sure that he was the first one to pick my little buddy up. He picked him up, and he did as expected. He bit him, he pooped in his hand, and I even got a surprise. The kid started crying. Completely worth it to me. Grounded for about a month, but hey, I didn't care. I don't really know what that says about me. Now, there had to be at least one tie-in because a handful of you out there are going to complain that this video has nothing to do with PlayStation VR. And to be honest, you couldn't be more correct. But I don't care. Frank makes it rain content, so one BS video every now and again ain't gonna hurt you. You never know, you might find out something we have in common. Now, if you're a Frank devotee, you already know the story of when I got my first system. But for those of you that don't know, I was 6, my mom was a hippie and really not into video games, but I got lucky when she got pregnant because she couldn't spend time with her lonely son. So instead, I spent time with Sonic the Hedgehog and my Sega Genesis. I loved it and I've been hooked ever since. I spent countless hours in my room hiding playing Conker's Bad Fur Day. I was probably one of the only people that bought Dave Mirra's BMXXX, and I have resold pretty much every game that I've ever owned. I'm not a gaming collector. I've never gotten into PC gaming, but I have owned pretty much every console. And I stay up to date on all of the latest technology, always have and always will. So for those of you worried about the future, your boy Frank will always be here with the latest and greatest up-to-date, state-of-the-art information for all of you wonderful people out there. Now, this is a story I like to tell people the first time I meet them because it helps me gauge their acceptance of me. So I personally hate flying on airplanes, but I have to do it more often than you'd think. And when I say hate, honestly, I despise it. I can't stand it. I was that little kid clutching the seat and crying every single time that the plane rocked. Fast forward 20 years, I'm that same person now. And if you ever get nervous, you know that your whole body likes to tighten up. I like to waste time in a concourse and buy just a bunch of BS, but it never really helped. I end up with a bunch of snacks that I eat on the tarmac before we even take off, and some shit from Brookstone that I didn't even need in the first place. I don't really remember where I was headed, and it doesn't really matter, but I had eaten a whole bunch of junk and I had yet to relieve myself. I was nervous as usual, and it was time to get on the plane, and I still had not done my business. I got on anyway, and I sat down, and right before we were about to take off, I felt that bubble in my stomach, you know that it's time feeling. But bang, of course, as soon as they start to move, the little thing goes off, it's too late. I know that I'm not going anywhere. I am stuck there for at least the next 20 minutes or so. So I figured I'd do the next best thing, and I just farted. I wait a sec like I always do. I look around like questioning, like, whoa, do you guys notice that? Anything? When my neighbors didn't seem to notice anything, so I cracked off another one. And then I cracked off another one, and I was just starting to feel a little bit better, so I was like, and they still hadn't noticed anything was going on, so I cracked off one more, and then I'm sure you can guess what happened next. Your boy Frank, when he rides on airplanes, he likes to wear shorty shorts. So like little tiny shorts. You can't see my legs right now, but I'm talking like normally one of my nuts is sticking out. It's just, I like to be comfortable on the plane. I knew that I wasn't getting up anytime soon. I was just sitting there, and about 15 minutes into it, the people around me were starting to notice a little something. I mean, I could see their noses going up, I could see them kind of looking at me, and I was kind of pretending like I was looking like, what the hell's going on? While everyone's like, sure, yeah, sure kid, ha, sure. And meanwhile, every single time the plane bumps, I'm freaking out. So not only that, I'm drawing attention to myself because we're freaking out from the turbulence, but I smell terrible. And I know that I can't get up because I'm not gonna leak on the floor. Not that I'm not capable of it, I just didn't do it then. Long story short, I'm the last one on the plane, and I basically just had to like clean myself off with my tears in the plane bathroom. And I got into the car, and my mom picked me up, and probably like 15-20 minutes into our drive, she finally asked me, honey, what stinks? All right, we're done. Now, for those of you that wanted this, you're very welcome. And for those of you that hate this, I'm sure you're gonna let me know in the comments.